Welcome to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. I'm Kyra, Howearth, your host. Here on the show, we talk all about manifesting your dreams with the power of the moon so you can use the cosmic energy to transform your life. Welcome back to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. It's Kyra Howearth, and today I want to share with you some tips for when you should be either reading your business chart or your natal chart. And I'm wondering if you're here, if you already know that your business has its own astrology chart. Yes, that's right. If you're a business owner, your business has its own separate astrology chart that is completely separate to your own natal chart. Your business has its own energy, and sometimes it can be a bit confusing about certain situations when you should be looking at your natal chart or your business chart. And I really am a believer that you should be looking at both for a lot of different reasons, but there are definitely some times when one is maybe more appropriate over the other. So in today's episode, we're going to dive into when you should use each of these charts and how. So when I first started off with astrology quite a few years ago, I just went by natal charts. Back then, I had no idea that you could have a business chart or anything else. And it made a lot of sense back then, like just looking at my natal chart, as I was an entrepreneur and I was often talking to other entrepreneurs as well. And when it's only you running your own business and maybe you don't have any other employees, or you don't even have a large team, if it's really literally just you, then it makes sense that your energy has a greater influence. But over time, as my business grew, I noticed that there were times when things would happen in my business that my natal chart just couldn't quite explain. And I started to think a bit more about why this could be. Like, I would have a really successful sales day, but then when I looked at my natal chart, there was nothing to really suggest that. Or maybe when I was going through a rough time with my business, again, on my natal chart, there wasn't really anything to suggest why that would happen. So when I started learning about business charts and understanding that businesses had their own energy, my mind was blown. Of course, businesses have their own energy. They have their own unique energetic blueprint. And as I started looking into my business chart, it really helped me to understand the energetics of my business and helped me to understand how my business was its own separate entity, separate from myself. Even as a sole trader, even as an entrepreneur, even as a personal brand, my business still has its own unique branding. It has its own unique messaging. It has its own unique ideal clients. It has its own everything. Like, it's very different and distinct. My business has its very own energetic blueprint that is so different from my own energetic blueprint, my own natal chart. So if you're not sure how to bring up a business chart and you're listening now and you're like, oh my gosh, I want my business chart. I want to find out what my business chart says about my business. I actually have a free business chart guide for you to download, and you'll find that down below in the show notes. So go ahead, click through, get that free business chart guide, and then come back so that you can listen to the rest of this episode. Inside the free business chart guide, there is a printable PDF that goes through all the houses, the planets, and all that sort of thing in the lens of business astrology. Plus, there is also instructions there for bringing up your very own business chart, which is, it's a whole episode in itself. And in fact, I'm pretty sure there is an episode on the Moon Manifesting podcast somewhere about bringing up your own business chart as well. So if you do want to dive into that, find that episode as well. But let's have a look at when it's appropriate to look at your business chart or natal chart. So one of the key things where I will always look at some sort of astrology chart is launching in a business. So let's say you're launching a program, a book, a offering of some sort. You're wanting to ideally find the best timing for that launch. So you'll want to have a look and have a look at astrology, and I'll tell you which chart to look at in a moment, to ideally find the optimal timing for launching. So ideally for this, you'll look at both your natal chart and your business chart. Your natal chart is going to help you understand more about how the launch period might be affecting your energy specifically. So for example, if like the sun is moving through the 12th house and you're wanting to launch something, that might be a big no. Like this might be a really bad time to launch something, because generally speaking, during our 12th house, when the sun is moving through that area of our chart, of our natal chart, this is when we might just be feeling a bit more tired, needing a bit more rest. This is when we are ideally maybe taking some annual leave, or we're on holiday. We're taking a step back so we can reconnect with our deeper purpose. So launching during that time might not be such a great idea. But maybe we also look at our business chart, right? And in our business chart, the 12th house can be more to do with like behind the scenes work or retreats. Again, like that sort of essence of stepping back, taking time out. So again, you may want to avoid the 12th house. But what we do want to look for, specifically on the business chart, but of course this can also be quite ideal if we can kind of align this up on the natal chart as well, is ideally launching when the sun, and maybe also looking at the new moon, launching something perhaps around the new moon or full moon, when they are in the 2nd house, 10th house, or 11th house. And you may not get all those houses, like it may not quite line up to get, like, for example, you might have something in the 2nd house, the sun might be moving through the 2nd house on your business chart, and then you might have the sun moving through your 10th house on your natal chart. That might work really well, but it may not line up like that depending on the exact configuration of your charts. But it's definitely worthwhile looking into both charts for a time that you're looking to launch something, to understand what houses are going to be activated and whether those houses are going to be supportive for your launch. Maybe they'll be, supportive in a way that, like, maybe that house is specific for the sort of thing that you're launching. So maybe you're launching an online course. Well, that could be really suggestive of the 9th house. So maybe if the 9th house is being activated in either your business or natal chart, then that could be quite ideal. If you're launching a retreat, maybe you do want to work with that 12th house energy. After I just said don't use it, don't launch through the 12th house, but use that at your discretion. Feel into what houses are being activated on both charts, looking at the time period that you're wanting to launch for, and then that might help you make a decision about whether that's a good timing for launching that specific offering or service out into the world. So if you're a personal brand, is it appropriate to look at a business chart, or do you just look at your natal chart? So I was running a business under a business name for a few years, and then I decided to change to a personal brand. I had kind of outgrown the name of my business, and I wanted to rebrand and just be me, and not feel like I was trapped into anything. So I had created a business chart for my business under that business name. And then as I moved into a personal brand, I just went back to using my natal chart. And I used my natal chart for quite some time, just going off my natal chart. And when I started working with a business astrologer, she said, Kyra, even though you're a personal brand, you actually really still need to have a business chart for your personal brand. And so I pulled up my my new business chart for my personal brand, and it just made so much sense. And I was like, why didn't I do this earlier? It just made so much sense. So definitely for personal brands, you need to be looking at both. You definitely need to have a separate chart for your personal brand, and also obviously you'll have your natal chart, because your personal brand or your business, it always begins at a certain point in time. Like, you weren't just born with your personal brand, unless, I don't know, maybe you were a baby actor. I don't know, but like how many baby actors are there in the world? And even then, they probably, the point of their career starting, it was probably not at the time of birth. So yeah, it's probably very unlikely that you would have a natal chart that's very, very similar to your business chart. You will need to have a separate business chart for your business. Even if you're a personal brand, even if it's just you, you need to have a separate business chart. So thinking back to when you first started your personal brand, your business, that will be the start point of your business chart. That will be the birth time, so to speak, of your personal brand. So yeah, personal brands, if you're an influencer, if you're a personal brand, if it's just you, just your name, you still need to go back to when you first started that business, when you first started that business activity, and bring up a chart for your business. Now, the third thing that I will mention for today's episode about looking at your business and or natal chart, and this is something that I just find so fascinating, is when you're outsourcing or hiring in your business. Maybe you're at the point where you're wanting to grow your team, or maybe you're just needing to outsource things. Maybe you have you want to have a virtual assistant or someone like that to help you out with things. Something that many people fall into the trap of doing is hiring someone who is kind of like a mini me, right? Like they hire someone who is just so similar to them. And while it can work really well, it can be like a body double at times, often because of the similarities, you'll both be lacking the same things. And that can create energetic gaps within your business. And the super cool thing about a business chart is that your business chart, it might have completely different energies to what you have on your chart. My business is actually a Taurus sun, and I have 0 Taurus placements on my natal chart. I have nothing. So if I was to hire someone at the moment, I would probably be looking for someone who has a bit of that Taurus energy, because that way they would be able to bring that Taurus energy into my business to kind of keep my business Taurus sun happy, so to speak. So yeah, there's that to keep in mind. If you're outsourcing or hiring, you will want to look at your business chart and also look at your natal chart and look at how they combine together, and consider what energy does your business have that you don't. One of my mentors, she was talking about how her business has a lot of Gemini energy, but she has no Gemini on her chart at all. But she has found that her team members, they are all quite dominant in Gemini, like they are Gemini suns or Gemini risings or Gemini moons. So the business gets its Gemini energy from these other team members rather than the CEO of the business, so to speak. So that's really cool to keep in mind, remembering that your business has its own energy, it's its own entity, whether or not you're a personal brand or a larger business or whatever. There's always still room to grow, to hire people, and to understand that your business has its own energy. And if you're not bringing that energy personally into the business, then maybe when you come to outsourcing and hiring, you can find someone who can fill that energetic gap and bring in that energy into your business, which is super, I think it's such a cool concept, really. It's super cool. So basically, for any sort of personal questions that are about you specifically, this is when you would look at your natal chart. But if it's anything to do with your business, that's when you'll need to look at your business chart. And I know that sounds really straightforward, but honestly, I get so many questions from people all the time, or I have people come into readings, and I have to go through this stuff. I have to go through this. This is why it's a thing on my podcast, because it's something I get asked a lot. So your natal chart can absolutely provide you with so many answers, especially when it comes to your business. Your natal chart can definitely provide you with so much detail, but your business chart will give you a more complete view of the energetic needs of your business. So if you're really wanting to dial into the energetic needs of your business, that's when it's more appropriate to look into your business chart. But you, especially if you're a entrepreneur or a sole trader, you're running your business yourself, looking at your natal chart will also give you so much information that you can apply into your business, because obviously you're bringing a lot of the energy into the business yourself. So if you are curious about exploring astrology this year for your personal and business growth, this is just one of the things that we do inside Business Witch. We have monthly group calls, you have monthly one-on-one calls with me personally. You also have access to all of my other things. You have access to my online yoga classes. You get access to my website support, to my website Witchery Vault. You get access to my Moon Manifesting Coven, and so much more. It is really an all access pass to all of my services, and you get behind the scenes of my businesses. So Business Witch is currently open for a mid-year intake. You get to join in with the current cohort, but you'll still get your full year of access, which is really cool. This is honestly the best thing that I have ever offered out into the world, because it's really like whatever you need, I can provide it to you. Some of the members inside Business Witch at the moment, they're coming to me with like so many different things that are going on, like health related issues. With my background as a herbalist and with my background in natural health, I'm able to help people with health, with holistic health. I've had someone who was wanting help with website stuff. So for one of her one-on-one calls, I was able to actually just go into her website and do the work for her. And there's just really no limits to how I can help you inside Business Witch. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. One of the students in Business Witch has joined with the intention of creating an oracle deck this year. So that's something that we're working together with as well. We've just been exploring her business chart, looking at the timing and all that sort of fun stuff for her deck, which is really cool. So if you are interested in joining us inside Business Witch, you'll find the link down below in the show notes. I would really love to welcome you inside Business Witch. It really is an all access pass to all these different areas of my business, where I can support you in all the different ways that I can. I'm such a Gemini and I have so many different things going on. So you definitely get access to all of that inside Business Witch. So by now you can see how important it is to have both your natal and business chart available to you. If you didn't already get that free business chart guide, make sure you go down to the show notes below so you can get access to that, because it is really such a valuable tool to be able to look at your business chart and to understand the energetics of your business, understanding that it is a completely separate entity to you, that it has its own energy, it has its own needs. So yeah, definitely don't forget to check in with your business chart, especially when it comes to making important business decisions or considering timing of launches and things like that. So for now, stay magical, stay manifesting, and stay tuned. I will talk with you in the next episode really soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Moon Manifesting Podcast. If you are curious about working with the moon, you can read my book, Moon Manifesting, or join us inside the Moon Manifesting Coven. You'll find the links in the show notes, or go to kyrahowearth.com.